location this morning is at St. Tammany Parish Jail. Would the officer please introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Deputy First Class Molinary.
All right, thank you, sir. And we have, is this Mr. Henley?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Henley.
Good morning.
Mr. Henley, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your DOC number, please.
My name is James Henley. My number is 761445.
All right, thank you, sir. And are you looking at a parole revocation questionnaire?
Yeah, I'm looking at the paper y'all sent.
Is the parole revocation questionnaire, is that your signature at the bottom of that page dated December 13th of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Based on the information or your answers to those questions, you're not eligible for appointed counsel today. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Mr. Henley, I'm going to read the allegations against you, and then I'll ask you to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. And then after we get through the charges, we'll have a discussion with you. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Prater. He'll take the lead on the interview. So you ready to get started?
Yes, ma'am. One question, please.
Okay.
My wife was supposed to be part of the hearing.
We have her listed. Is she on this? No. She's logged out. We're going to try to get her. She did log in, but she's logged off. So we'll call her. That's Kathy Henley.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And she indicated she wants to speak, so we'll try to reach her, but we're going to go ahead and get started, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
She'll pop up. You should be able to see when she joins us. So, Mr. Henley, you're accused of violation parole, specifically condition number 4. It's listed as 4D. It says on December 1st, 2023, you failed to refrain from the illegal use of drugs or alcohol. You were located at your primary residence about 10 a.m. and were asked when you last drank any alcohol. You stated, "I may have had a beer last week." When asked again when you last drank alcohol, you stated you may have had one yesterday. You were given a breathalyzer test, which showed 0.15 blood alcohol content. Upon further questioning, you admitted to drinking a 16-ounce beer that morning. How do you plead to that violation, 4D?
I'm guilty.
Okay. Then there's one listed as 4E, which says on December 4th, 2023, you failed to refrain from the illegal use of drugs or alcohol. You were located at your primary residence at about 1:30 p.m. and were asked if you drank any alcohol. You stated you had not drank alcohol and were given an alcohol test with breathalyzer, which showed a 0.07 blood alcohol content. When further questioned, you stated, "Okay, I had one beer last night and admitted to having one beer this morning." How do you plead to violating condition 4E?
I plead guilty on it, but I had
Yeah, we can talk about it when we start the questions. You can explain.
All right.
We have number 7, which says you had failed to truthfully and promptly answer all questions directed to you by your parole officer. At monthly contacts on December 1st, 23 and December 4th, 23, you were asked if you'd been drinking and you lied, stated you had not drank alcohol. However, when pressed, you admitted to drinking the day of that contact. So how do you plead to violating condition number 7?
Yes, ma'am.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And then last is condition number 10. You last made a payment to your supervision fees July 7, 2023. You're currently $778.50 in arrears on those fees. How do you plead to violating condition number 10?
Guilty.
Okay. All right. Do you have Ms. Henley on the phone yet? We're trying to get her now. So we're going to go ahead and start with our interview. When she joins us, we'll allow her to speak. Would you
Yes.
your practice questions?
Ma'am.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Okay, I wanted to talk to you just a moment to find out, part of what we do here is determine if a person is willing to follow the rules. And of course, you didn't follow the rules, the reason you originally got arrested, and then you were told that you needed to do certain things in order to abide by that and you didn't do those things, and then you served some time and you got out again, and then you were told not to do certain things like drinking,
Okay.
and you were to pay your money and not to lie. And so it appears that you really have a problem following rules. And I'm trying to figure out what we can do to assist you in figuring out how you're gonna live amongst free people that are not in a jail. How are you gonna live and follow the rules? Do you have anything to say about that? Can you tell me why you have such a problem following rules?
Yes, I didn't drink I wasn't like a slush or drunk. I wasn't drinking like that. I'd had a beer every now and then, and I had told Mr. Everly that. And in July, the reason why we went in the rear on the payment to the parole fees, me and my wife was in a real bad car accident, hit by a semi truck. After the accident, it was bad. After the accident, I had told Mr. Everly that, but things are gonna be tough right now, Buzz. It was all kind of stuff going on after the accident. And I had explained to him that I would be slow on paying it, but I also told Mr. Everly, me and my wife told him made sure he understood that at the first of this year, we were going to catch it all up and get everything done. But that'd give us enough time to get back on our feet, get back going, have a vehicle. And the drinking the beer is, I've drank beer for many a years, and I know that I wasn't supposed to, and I had something I wanted to read to y'all, but I wasn't, wasn't mad at Mr. Everly or nothing. I had a beer. At first I wanted to tell him I didn't, but I couldn't stand there and keep doing that. I had to tell him the truth, and he knew that because he would stand there and talk to me. And so I told him that that I would start some AA, and we had looked up for some classes to go to that my insurance would pay for. And the morning that he locked me up, that's what me and her was in the process. We done had found the classes and everything. We were fixing to leave. If he had not come when he did, I'd have been gone to Mandeville to the about the AA meeting and the alcohol class. And he knew that. He seen us. We was out back on our patio, and not one time have I done anything like me and my wife argue. We just don't do that. We've been together 39 years, And I drank a beer, but believe you me, this right here, it got my attention. This ain't that. And then she told me about a scram device. Then my wife told me about that a few days ago. I didn't know nothing about it. I had an ankle monitor on since the day I've been on parole. I've not even left St. Tammany Parish. I have not failed any drug test that he's given me. I've attended every class he's told me to attend. I've done everything I could. The only thing I did was I had drank a beer. And I told Mr. Everly that. Never once has he seen me doing this. Never once has he found it in my house. I had a beer. Most time it's during a football game is when I've had a beer. And that would be on my patio on my backyard. In my backyard. That was it. And Mr. Everly, I understand his job and everything. I know that I signed a thing stating that I would refrain from drinking alcohol. But the first time, and I had read on the thing, I said the first time he gave me a 3-day sanction. And then the second time he gave me a 10-day sanction. And I said, well, if I had known about the scram device and all this, then I'd have went to that extent if it had kept me from drinking a beer. If that would have been what I needed to not drink, that's what I would have done. Just to prove that I can go without drinking a beer and do the right thing. You know, but after that accident, it was tough for me and my wife, you know. We didn't have car payments and stuff then. We don't owe bills. The only bill I owe is I owe this parole fee. Me and my wife, that's all we owe. Our bills is always paid. And then we come up with now we got a new car payment. Now that I'm locked up, you know, it's limited now just because she's by herself and she's on a fixed income.
Yeah. Okay, let's go, let me just ask this for my own benefit. Back when you originally got in trouble for the serious charge, back when was that,
Yeah, felon
95? When was it?
It was a felon to register charge.
Yeah. Before that, whatever caused you to require to be registered? Okay, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, I don't want to get into a lot of details about that because that's not what today is about. But at any point during that entire process, did you ever state or admit or discuss that you had been drinking during that time?
Oh yeah, I was like 23 years old. Yeah, I not at the present time, but I did drink beer then.
Okay, were you drinking beer when the offense occurred that you were found guilty of?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
That's all I need to know about that. Okay, fast forward back to the rule breaking, and I'm really having a problem because I read your wife's letter and talking about the fact that you drink, you know, part of the response to drinking is the wreck and all of that.
Yeah,
And
because
it sounds like you got a real problem
I
with
had quit
alcohol.
drinking for a while.
But it sounds like if you're saying, and you earlier said that you'd wear a scram bracelet if that's what it would take to get you to stop drinking beer. So that tells me you can't stop on your own. So which tells me also that's a problem.
Yeah,
And
I need to go to AA and stuff. I need to make sure I attend that. That's just part of being responsible and being a responsible adult. I understand this. And my wife, you know, bless her heart, she don't drink, you know. So but she wants the best and I want the best too for the both of us. You know, we've been married 39 years. So, you know, and she asked me today when I talked to y'all to, you know, and I said, if this is what it takes to prove that I'm going to follow y'all's rules. And I had quit drinking a while. I don't drink whiskey or nothing. I quit drinking for a while and then I started back drinking. Then I quit, you know, went back and forth for a while, you know. So then after the accident, I started drinking beer again. So.
it sound like to me that you'd be the textbook case of denial. And
Right.
that's what I need.
Mr. Henley, would you consider yourself an alcoholic?
Well, yeah, I would.
Well, I think so. You said you quit drinking for a while, but you really didn't quit drinking because you were drinking in the morning and your officer asked you about it. Why did you lie to the officer initially?
Well, at first I wanted to, I said no, and then I stand there talking to him and I just couldn't, I had to tell him the truth. You know, I didn't even feel right by telling him no. You know, he knew this. Me and Mr. Everly, he knows this.
Okay, we have your wife on the phone. She's on the phone. She had trouble getting in on Zoom. Ms. Henley, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
All right. Is there anything you'd like us to know? Would you like to speak on your husband's behalf this morning?
Yeah, I do believe that he really wants to stop drinking, and we've done discuss that. We're going to get we've worked going to church, but I'm trying to find a new church that we both feel comfortable in, and he's good. Like I said, he's a good guy. He does drink, and I'm proud of him. This is the first time he's ever told me he wanted to go to AA. I mean, I got faith in him, and I'm willing to do anything that he needs to get done. And I know there's other things that we can do around here in the community that will help him get into, not wanting to drink. Because he's been doing it for a long time. He had a lot on him when he was younger.
Mhm.
Being the sole provider of his after his dad died, and it's just bump after that. And I really do have faith in him this time that this truly the first time he's ever admitted to me that he's had a problem.
Oh, all right. Well, that's a good step then.
And when we get done with the parole, that hopefully within the next year, our grandkids don't live close, but then we do have some that live close in Mississippi. And they love him to death. They talk to him on the phone and all kinds of stuff. And they just want to see their grandfather do right.
All right. Well, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you taking the time to call in and tell us these things. Mr. Henley, anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
No, ma'am. I just hope that if given a chance, if it takes wearing the scram device or whatever it takes, that I'm able to go home and me and my wife can, because we're going to do it. We're going to do this together. We've been doing it 39 years. We're going to do this together. And she's my 100. I love her that much, and she's really been at me about it. And if that's, I'm going to do everything I can. And I told her, I said, I don't even know what it costs, but I would like to have my freedom and be given this chance. I know I haven't been perfect. I know I haven't been perfect, but I'm telling you, this is a wake up call right here. This since December the 4th, this is a wake up call. This is bigger than I've had in a long time.
Okay, sir, I think we are prepared to vote. Mr. Prater will be voting first.
I made sure you get the vaccine.
Okay, I don't really have much problem voting to revoke. I just don't, I think you got a problem that you're not admitting to on your alcohol. I think you admit to us, but I just, that's my vote.
Mr. Tiller?
I concur.
I agree, Mr. Henley. You were correct. I noted that you had the ankle monitor, you were doing the sex offender treatment, but you really have not faced your alcohol problem. And so my vote today also is to revoke, and I'm going to make a strong recommendation that you be afforded some inpatient DOC treatment. And you'll have an opportunity to come back before the board once you complete that treatment. But you need the treatment. For us, it's not about getting out. We got to get out and want to stay out and do the right thing. Today, sir, your parole's been revoked. That concludes our business in St. Tammany. We're going to sign off at 9:29. It's one side board.
Well, that's all I can do.
All right, good morning. Committee on Parole is reconvening. We're at Caldwell Parish Detention Center. It is Thursday, April 4th, 2024 at 10:52 a.m. And you are, sir, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number. Wait, y'all are on mute. Do you have a staff member in the room with you? Your microphone's on mute. There we go.
My name is Jude Robin, DOC number 714284.
Let me ask the officer in the room with you to identify himself for the record, please.
My name is Sergeant Kennedy.
Okay, Sergeant Kennedy, thank you for accommodating us today.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
Mr. Robin, let me read some identifying information into the record, and then we'll start the parole interview process with you. Mr. Prater, seated to my left, will take the lead. Your case has been assigned to him. Before we vote, you'll be allowed to make a statement. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Robin, you're classified as a first felony offender. You're currently serving a 7-year sentence. You were sentenced initially in September of 2016 for indecent behavior with a juvenile. You were afforded probation that was revoked on November 2nd, 2017. Your parole eligibility was January 19, 2020. You don't earn good time and your full term is September 19th of this year,
Yes, ma'am.
right? Okay. Would you answer Mr. Prater's question, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about getting revoked. What were you revoked for?
I was revoked for hanging out with the wrong crowd. Excuse me. Constant use of marijuana and not obeying the conditions of my parole, my probation. I'm sorry.
Okay. So you've had all of your sex offender training or your whatever you might call that, all of the classes that you need for your phase 1 and phase 2. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I've worked hard at it. I successfully completed it.
Okay.
Also,
All right. And were you on any kind of drugs or alcohol when this offense occurred?
yes, sir. I was currently intoxicated.
Okay. So do you have a substance abuse problem?
Yes, sir. I successfully completed a substance abuse program here at Caldwell Detention Center.
I asked, do you have a problem? Do you have a substance abuse problem?
Oh, no, sir. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you, Mr. Prater.
Okay.
No, sir. I do not have a substance abuse problem.
Well, you were revoked because of substance abuse also, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
And you committed this offense when you were on some sort of substance, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you don't have a problem.
Not no more, sir.
I thought that in that AA and everything else, they tell you you're always, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. You just learn to deal with it. Is that not?
Yes.
So do you have a substance abuse problem?
Yes, sir. I learned to cope with it throughout the class of substance abuse and learn how to deal with it.
That's all.
So, Mr. Robin, what is your sobriety plan?
My sobriety plan is to go out and is to go back to society and complete other meetings if possible.
Wait, what you say? I'm sorry.
Complete other AA meetings if possible, and stay away from the alcoholic beverages and fight the urge not to use them.
So what do you mean attend AA meetings if possible? They're everywhere.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Meetings are everywhere. 24/7, you can find a meeting.
Yes, ma'am. I tend to for further help, I plan to attend further meetings to help me fully control the urge.
When's the last time you had a drink?
I ain't had a drink since I've been incarcerated now.
When's the last time you had a drug test?
It's been a little while since I had one. I'm sorry.
The last time you had a positive drug screen?
The last time I had a positive drug screen was I got revoked from my probation. That was back in November 2nd or 7th, October 6th, 17, when my probation officer revoked me.
All right. What's your conduct history look like? Your last write-up, when was that?
I ain't had one in the last 2 years. I ain't had one since 19.
Sergeant Kennedy, is there anything you can tell us about Mr. Robin?
Yes, ma'am. Ever since he arrived here in April of 2023, he has not had no disciplinary issues, no write-ups. He has completed all of his eligible programs for here at Caldwell. He also completed his sex offender treatment while he was at Bossier before he came here. And he was excellent in all of his programs, and that's coming from the teacher and stuff, all that. And he's actually in line to be a trustee here in the kitchen. He ain't been giving us no trouble at all.
Good to hear. What is your job now, Mr. Robin?
No, currently don't not have trustee status at the moment, ma'am.
So you're waiting for the trustee status. Okay. All right. Anything you want to say to us before we vote?
Yes, ma'am, I feel that I'm ready to go back to society and be there for my family and my little girl, which is 11 years old now. And I plan to go out, be a productive member of society and live to the best of my knowledge. I already have employment lined up if granted parole. And plan on going home and help my family as much as possible when they need the extra help around their homes.
All right. Ready to vote?
And if your full term date, you're gonna get out in September anyway, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so if we parole you right now, we could have certain sanctions or certain requirements on that. Whereas if you get out for your full term, then you don't.
Right.
You're on your own.
Yeah.
Well, it'd almost be worth taking a chance on letting you get out 5 months early to demand that you go to AA programs for me, because I want to make sure that you understand. And I think what may be a communication problem here between you and I, as far as, do you have a substance abuse problem? I think you realize you do, but I'm not certain of that. But I want you to, my vote will be that you are granted parole with the condition that you go to, what's a reasonable number? Week. Three AA programs a week. And that your parole officer monitor those and keep us informed to make sure you go to them. Otherwise, I think that's the only hold that we got on you. And that's it.
Mr. Tillis?
Mr. Robin Talder, how old are you?
I am 33 years old, sir.
Do you remember when you started using drugs?
I was at the age of 16 when I started using drugs.
And how long did you stay on drugs when you were using them?
I stayed on them. I stayed using drugs until the time I was incarcerated. But since I have been incarcerated, sir, I've learned. I accept full responsibility of my actions, my past actions, and I have had time to reflect on them.
Yeah, he's voted to grant a special condition that we attend through a.
I concur.
All right, Mr. Robin, when I looked at your record, you were a definite no, but talking to you, I agree with Mr. Prater. I think that it's important that you be required to tend to your substance abuse problems. So my vote today would be to grant, along with my colleagues, to grant your parole and require as a special condition that you do attend 3 AA meetings per week. And I'd also like to add a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. if there's no objection.
No.
And that you have no contact with the victim in this case. Do you understand those special conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, you've been granted parole, and that's based on for me, it's based on the positive remarks by Sergeant Kennedy. So good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
That concludes our business there at Caldwell. We're going to sign off at 11:03. Thank you, Sergeant Kennedy.
Yes, ma'am.
So where are we on this?
I don't know if the two of you had discussions on this issue.
Is that okay with you? Oh, good, because you don't have a choice.